Hello and welcome to Domi Tries This. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's cup is Joy. I know you can barely see that on there. This is the third of a group of 4 that I've told you about. It's not my favorite in the group, mostly because of this olive green. And I know I'm wearing a lot of green today, but green is actually not one of my favorite colors. But this particular color of green, yeah, anyway. Today's tea is vanilla chai decaf. I love my teas, can we tell? It is a sweet tea. I don't usually drink it by itself. I usually drink it with one of the chocolate teas or with the cinnamon vanilla that I have. Or I also have a vanilla nut cream. At any rate, I usually mix it in with something else. But it is a good tea on its own. So today, after all of that bumbling around, today we are going to go through the Mario Badescu samples that I recently received. And this was the box. I showed receiving the box. And I really like how they do their samples. Mario Badescu, I think, really did their samples right, so to speak. A lot of times you get skincare samples and they're a lot like this that I just received today. There are these foil packs like this, and there's not much in them. There's maybe 1 or 2 applications in there usually, unless you don't need to use a lot. There are a lot of them where you don't need to use a lot. So, in fact, I have one in here in the Mario Badescu that I'm still using, and it's been 10 days. But these, you know, they have the standard little clip in the side, and you're gonna have to pull it, and a lot of times the stuff on the plastic protective coating on the inside doesn't tear open easy. These guys did it right. They made it easy for you to get in even on their samples. So I showed you the box, and when you open the box, on the top is their little pamphlet. And the pamphlet is customized, because when you go and you order their samples, you tell them your skin type and stuff, and they will pick out the samples that most fit your skin. So they tell you the samples they've included, and then they tell you the routine to use. And on the back, they show you how to apply the products. Now, I gotta admit, didn't quite follow that, but really nice, informative packaging right there. And then underneath that, all of their samples are really prettily wrapped, as you can see, in a tissue paper. And you get a decent amount of samples in the box too. So, like I said, most of the samples are in those foil packs. What they did differently, however, is they didn't just put little clips on the side. They have a spot in the middle that's already cut that makes it easier for you to pick and pull up to open up the packaging. And then the sample itself just doesn't come you don't just open it by cutting up across the top and making it difficult to store later. They basically have it so that there's a little spot right on one side that the product comes out of. So I really like the way they package these samples. And not all my samples were foil packs. They sent me this glycolic foaming cleanser in a bigger sample. They sent me, now this one I have a hard time with, so give me a minute here. Derogatory eye cream in this kind of sample. And then they sent the rose hips mask in a larger sample. So I really appreciate the fact that they also made sure that you had enough of each sample to use it more than once. I think with skincare, using it only once or twice won't tell you anything, really. Unless, of course, your skin reacts badly to it. Usually, if your skin is going to react badly, it's going to be right away. Not always, but usually. So, I like the fact that they made sure that you had enough to go at least 5 days with their products, which is really nice. So I have my notes on my phone again, so if I'm looking down a lot, I apologize. So we're going to get started with the stuff as you use it, which means I'm going to have to dig through here and pull these out. So the first thing you're supposed to use twice a day is the enzyme cleansing gel. And I still have some in here because I honestly wasn't that impressed. You can see it's kind of a thin, white, creamy product. It didn't really foam up the way I would expect a cleanser to do. It does leave your skin soft but not dry. It has a very pretty, very light scent, very fresh. It's not floral. It's not, I'm trying to figure out, it's not floral, it's not really herby. It's just a light, clean scent, which I appreciate too. The problem with it is, and the reason I will not be purchasing is, it has always seemed to leave something behind. When I used it by itself and then used my radiance pads would come up dirty. It was worse when I used it after makeup. I usually take my makeup off with baby wipes, but every once in a while you just don't have time for all that and you just want to throw on your cleanser and wash and get done and get out and go to bed or whatever you're doing at the time. And this really, to me, didn't clean. So it's not a product I will be buying. My skin didn't react badly. My eyes had no problems with it, but to me a cleanser needs to clean. So for me, the gel cleanser was a bit of a fail. Next, there is their Alpha Grapefruit Cleansing Lotion. Also came in a packet. And this was the only product that I think I had trouble with being in this kind of packet. It's, I don't even know if there's any in here because this really was, oh, there's a little bit. You can kind of, let's do it this way. See if there's enough in there to do that. If you kind of see it, maybe not, right there. It's really loose, really wet, really orange. I don't know why they call it a lotion. It's more like a toner, and I think it would have been better to just say it was a toner than a lotion. This also had a really light scent, but like the cleanser, it seemed to leave a film behind. It did dry down and leave my skin kind of soft, but I'm not really interested in it. I'm really happy with my Fab pads, so we'll stick with those. It wasn't a bad product, but it wasn't anything that would get me to change to my other stuff. Got a lot of stuff in here that was okay, but not that I would buy. So next was the Derogatory eye cream. I think I pronounced that right. You can see it's really, really blue. Now on the plus side, you really don't need a lot, just a little touch. That's it. That was enough to go under my eyes. It's very creamy and smooth. It blends in. It feels a little greasy initially, but it does, I don't want to say dry down, but it absorbs. That's what I want to say. And it felt initially very cooling, and I did see some results in terms of my texture evening out. Problem is it seemed to either create or aggravate an allergy reaction. My eyes would get weepy, and I tried doing it and using it in different ways, using less, putting it further down below the eye, things like that, and my eyes just didn't like it. So that's another one I won't be buying anytime soon, unfortunately. And now for one of the successes, and that is the anti-acne serum. I actually still have a teeny tiny bit of this in here. There, you can see it. It's a very clear gel. And according to the directions, you can either use it as an all-over serum or as a spot treatment. And I chose to use it as spot treatment because I do not break out in such a way that it's all over my skin. So I don't need it all over my skin. And I noticed results from the very first day that I used it. I had developed a large blemish over here. It was very red. It was very unhappy. And I put this on, and the next day that redness was gone, and the whole blemish was gone within 2, maybe 3 days. And that's been its track record for almost all of them. There have been a few blemishes that have come up that has taken longer to work on. But in general, this is something I'm going to buy. I like it. It's very light. I put it on. I actually normally put it on now before I put on my eye cream so that I can let the serum soak in and dry down before I put on my moisturizer. So, but this one, it's $20, I think, for an ounce. And like I said, this little packet here, they're probably filled to about here when you get them. So it'll be filled down here. And I'm going on 10 days on this. And that's with spot treatment. As an all-over serum, I can't say, well, I can say, if you're getting serums are expensive. I don't even want to go into it. Serums are expensive. So as an all-over serum, it actually is relatively affordable compared to other serums. I mean, a lot of the other serums I've seen are $50, $85, and they're not even a full ounce. Now, granted, this is specifically for acne, so it's probably expensive for an acne product. Not having received other samples yet, I have some I'm waiting on, but having not received them and not tried any, to me, that is a reasonable price because, like I said, I would be using it for spot treatment rather than all over my face. So that ounce is going to last me a long time. Next is the Moisture Magnet, which I still have some left of. And if you look at it, it's this pale pinkish cream. It is very thick. It is thicker than my Hope in a Jar that I've used, but it does blend out, so to speak, smooth out. It's very smooth. It's just really heavy. It's actually, and that's my biggest problem with it. It's pale pink when it starts, but you don't get that in the cream itself. But it is very heavy. It does leave my skin soft, but there's almost a tacky feeling to it. So when you touch it, it's not really smooth. I'm not sold on this, but I'm not sold on this, if that makes sense. It seems to be a good moisturizer for days when I'm not going to wear makeup. On days that I'm going to wear makeup, I use my First Aid Beauty Coconut Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. I think that's the name of it. Such a long name. And I use that because it's lighter on my skin and it helps with a spot that I have in my eye where the makeup disappears. This is just too heavy for any of that. So this would be something good for non-makeup days. But before I commit to this, I actually want to try their, let me see. I want to try their oil-free moisturizer. A lot of that has to do with how heavy this is and the fact that it takes a while to absorb, and I don't like the way my skin feels when it's done. I'm kind of hoping the oil-free would be more to my taste, to my preferences in terms of how quickly it dries and absorbs and how my skin feels when it's done. So for night, they have the Bee Pollen Night Cream. Now this is even heavier than the day cream. It's a pale orange. It takes longer to absorb in. And even once absorbed in, you won't see it here, but it leaves kind of a glow. Now this will kind of, if you see, it's kind of going down, but you can still see there's kind of a sheen. It's a really heavy cream. It's lightly scented, but it smells more floral. When applied, it doesn't really leave the skin soft, or at least not my skin, but it's not quite tacky. It's almost, I want to say greasy, but it's not really that either. But it is slick. It's kind of a slick, it's odd. And it takes a long, long time to absorb. And you do kind of see a difference, but it really is just, it's too heavy of a cream for me. So it's another one I'm not really interested in using. And then we've got the other two items, and there's the glycolic foaming cleanser. You're supposed to use that once or twice a week. I have to say that this surprised me. This is a, let's see if I can get this open with my now slick fingers. This is a really thick gel. And unlike their other cleanser, when this has gotten wet, it does actually foam up. And I have to say, I was kind of nervous about it because I had tried a previous glycolic product and it left my skin feeling really sensitive. So it may have done what it was supposed to do, but I wasn't going to use it again. So the first time I used this, I used it after my First Aid Beauty cleanser. I think I'd pretty much almost given up on the other, on their gel cleanser in here. And precisely because it didn't clean. So I tried this after my First Aid Beauty cleanser, and it left my skin very soft and smooth, but not dry and not overly sensitive. And it didn't, I also used my First Aid Beauty pad afterwards, and it didn't make my skin, it didn't leave a discoloration on there, and it didn't make my skin sting or anything. I actually really liked the way this left my skin feeling. And so this is another one I'm going to be purchasing. It comes at about $16 a bottle. And you don't need to use a lot of it. So since you only use it once or twice a week and you use a very small amount of it, I'm actually very interested in picking this up. So more than likely I will pick up this and the acne serum and then get a sample of the other cream I want to try. So the last item is this Rose Hips mask. And this reminds me a lot of the Kiehl's Rare Earth in its texture. It's smooth, it's a pale pink. Again, you don't need to use a lot of it at once. I have so much shit on my hand right now. But it didn't, I don't think it really did anything. And when I rinsed it off, it seemed to leave a film on my skin. So yeah, I won't be buying this either. I didn't see the point of this stuff at all. I don't see what it was supposed to do. It didn't do anything for me. So people's reactions are going to be different to different skincare. I always have to say that because it is true. Some people are going to be more sensitive. Some people are going to get results from stuff that other people don't. Some people like heavy creams. If you have really dry skin, some of these creams might really work for you. They just don't work for me. I'm combo with a bit of an oily T-zone, particularly along my nose. So these creams really did not work for me, but I could see them working if you have really, really dry skin. I will leave a link to the site, and if I can find it, I'll have to look. If I can find it, I'll leave a link to the samples page where you can do your profile so that they can send you the correct samples. I do recommend them for certain things, but I think that you would have to try them yourself to figure out what actually works for you and your skin and what you would like. Like I said, I really like the serum and I like the glycolic cleanser. Both seem to do really well for my skin. Tiny amounts, the prices are good for those amounts that you would end up using and for how long the product would last if you use it in the way that I've mentioned that I intend to use it. So a good company, and I do recommend giving them a try. Just make sure you fill out their forms so that you get stuff that's particular for your skin. And that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed our little skincare session today, and I hope you have a good one. If you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe and click the bell down below so that you can see when I upload next. Meantime, you have a very good day. Bye.